cover story. As a big story this week, we take a look at the politics of Pranab Mukherjee's presidency as he restores gravitas to the office of Rashtrapati Bhavan. But first, the interview of the week with Amar Singh. At a time when the talk of a third front is hotting up again, and the non-Congress and non-BJP parties are planning a convention at the end of the month, we speak to a man who's actually made and broken many such fronts. Hello, welcome to NewsX. Mr. Amar Singh, we recently had a very interesting interview with you where you told lots of fascinating anecdotes about the rich and powerful. But somehow I think you still have some stories left to tell us, which is why I'm back again at your doorstep. In fact, I want to begin with this recent comment of Mulayam Singh about the third front. This is the house really where it all began. We've seen Chandrababu Naidu, we've seen Jayalalitha, Chauthala, we've seen all these people coming here to this house where the front was formed. Do you think this is a viable option now?
Well, there is a particular incident I would like to mention. This front, so-called third front, was initiated and formed in the residence of Right Honorable Jayalalitha ji in Post Garden. She invited all of us for lunch. And she said that UPA, there should be something, since we are trying to counter UPA, similar to that. And I have consulted numerologists, and a good name I have thought of, UNPA, United Progressive Alliance, and to counter that, United National Progressive Alliance, UNPA. She is a very astute and well-read and educated, articulate, honorable lady with no confusion in her mind, very focused. And I think that that kind of intelligence I have not seen in Mulayam Singh, Chauthala ji, or for that matter even in Chandrababu Naidu. They may be political animal. They may be politically very, very robust, but they don't necessarily waste their time in studying books or any kind of philosophy, or they don't have any fallacy left for reading books on different ideologies, whereas Jayalalitha ji was a very meritorious student, and she wanted to become an administrative officer. She turned into a heroine, and then she changed her fortune. So her inputs used to be very intellectually inclined and correct at times. So it was all started in her premises in Post Garden during a lunch hosted by her where all of us were present.
But apart from what you're saying, her intellectual superiority, does she have anything in common with this lot in today's date?
Well, there is, in the name of political expediency, the blatant political opportunism is absolutely common between all of them. But one good thing about her is that she is absolutely and categorically blunt about it. She is not a hypocrite. Whereas these gentlemen, they try to have a ideological burqa, veil, under which they want to do sheer and blatant political opportunism, political compulsion, circumstantial incidents, for their characterlessness or political opportunism, as you may say, blame it on Rio in Brazil. No, I am not that way, but it is the weather and atmosphere of the Rio that I have become like this. So that blame it on Rio syndrome is very much prevalent in their characters.
In 2007, Jayalalitha came, you were there, you got her to campaign in Uttar Pradesh for Mulayam. She was there in 2 constituencies. But now today, when the SP is in power, Akhilesh went calling on her. And we are told that she was, A, she did not offer any commitments. B, Akhilesh was told not even to say anything about the meeting and give sound bites outside the house, anything. So how do you see now, there is no Amar Singh now to facilitate a Jayalalitha and Mulayam Singh meeting?
Well, I would not like to give that much credit to me.
But do you see the two of them getting
I will say that to deal with any individual, they are different spectrum. What is good for Jayalalitha ji may not be good for Chandrababu. What is good for Chandrababu may not be good for Mulayam. So when you deal a person, you have to address his or her shoes. If all the time you address your own shoe and your own pinch, then the person with whom you are dealing with will become disinterested.
So what?
Mulayam Singh ji was not in power, right, and he was having only 90 plus odd MLAs. He was not chief minister. And Jayalalitha ji, I can say with great pride that I requested, and she was very kind and gracious, and in a chaste, better Hindi than Mulayam Singh. She campaigned for Mulayam Singh. She came all the way to Bareilly, and Bareilly gave 2 meetings. And Mulayam Singh kept offering, if you want me, I can come to Tamil Nadu. She never accepted that offer.
No, thank you.
She said, no, thank you, I don't need you. But she came all the way to Bareilly and to Allahabad, and she spoke in chaste, pure Hindi with proper pronunciation, with no problem. I have not seen Chandrababu or Dev Gowda, any South Indian leader, barring P.V. Narasimha Rao, is speaking such a good Hindi. And her delivery and her style was better than Narasimha Rao ji also. Very, very rhythmic, very poetic.
So you think somewhere Akhilesh and she, there was something that was not on the table. What went wrong in that meeting?
Akhilesh might be chief minister.
Right.
But he is an appointed chief minister. He is an imposed chief minister. You will have to give credit to Sonia ji. She did not bring Priyanka in direct politics.
But she got Rahul.
No, Rahul, he was not made Prime Minister overnight. She herself did not become. He was General Secretary, then he is now elevated.
His own reluctance. Leave it to Sonia Rahul. She would love to see Rahul as Prime Minister.
Absolutely.
This is Rahul's reluctance that is.
No. I think that a La Akhilesh style, what is there in their mind, they know. They are doing some assessment of their own career and prospects. Whereas Akhilesh, I don't know how to drive a car, but I jump on the driver's seat and smash it with 227 majority, absolute majority. I don't think that SP will ever get this kind of majority. So Hindus think that you are placating minorities, and minorities think that you are worse than Modi. Where do you stand? This is the blackest and bleakest era in the history of Samajwadi Party. What Mulayam Singh's struggle achieved in 50 years, Mulayam Singh's flip-flop policy, inconsistent policy, and total flexibility, that something in the morning, something in the afternoon, and something in the evening has changed the entire format of SP politics.
But do you see, Digvijay Singh has used a very nice phrase. He's saying there's a match fixing between the BJP and the SP. Do you see Mulayam Singh having some tacit understanding with the BJP?
Well, Digvijay Singh ji is a senior colleague. My only
You're joining Congress soon?
My humble contention of Digvijay Singh ji is that he is at times very blunt. And
so are you?
No, my bluntness is backed by logic. And Digvijay Singh ji does not say anything illogical, but all his blatant statements should also be backed by logic. Then it will be well taken. This is my humble advice. He is a senior colleague. He is like elder brother to me. No offense meant to his seniority and his stature. I know it for a certain that Mulayam Singh ji's DNA, political DNA I am talking about, is of contempt and ridicule so far as Congress is concerned. Because for 19 months he was in jail during emergency, and while he was housed in Etawah jail, he was with BJP and RSS guys. And prior to that, there was no major difference of ideological kind between Deen Dayal Upadhyay and Lohia. Both talked of Akhand Bharat, Bharat, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Is a concept of Akhand Bharat, concept of RSS. And very recently, he praised Advani ji, that Advani ji is a senior man. If he is saying that my son's administration, Akhilesh is not doing well, he does not talk lie. And the borrowing between Advani ji and Sangh and Mulayam Singh is nothing new. Not this assembly election where SP got absolute majority. assembly election, prior to this assembly election, Samajwadi Party's BSP's thumping victory result was not out. In this very house, there was a meeting between Dhaneshwar Mishra, me, and Mulayam Singh ji. To be fair to Mulayam Singh, it was not Mulayam Singh ji. Dhaneshwar Mishra said, Mayawati bahut tang karegi. She will trouble us a lot. To stop Mayawati, even if you have to shake hands with BJP, let us do it.
Dhaneshwar Mishra ji said that you can
Absolutely.
shake hands. He is the ideologue. Both Akhilesh and Mulayam used to believe in him.
Precisely. Accept Babri Masjid demolition and the clash of vote bank. Where is the difference between the ideology of Deen Dayal Upadhyay and Ram Manohar Lohia? So whether it is Swadeshi Jagran movement, whether it is opposition to English and computer, whether it is Bharat, Bangladesh and Pakistan Confederation or Akhand Bharat, it is almost identical. It is the Muslim vote bank and Babri Masjid demolitions blame on BJP that compelled, for instance, post 77, there was a government in which Ramdas Yadav was chief minister and Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav and Kalyan Singh ji, both were cabinet ministers under him.
Tell me something privately. You know the Mulayam Singh and Akhilesh very well. What is their opinion of Congress leaders? They may have to do business with them politically, but privately, what do the really
Utter dislike and contempt. You must have seen that on every issue, whether it is FDI investment, whether it is food security bill, up till last moment SP's stand was no, we will not support. And some invisible force or compulsion compelled him to fall in the line. That is, what is that invisible force and compulsion that can best be briefed by Samajwadi Party?
This clean chit, isn't that the...
Well, I don't want to comment on judicial and administrative result. But what is the compulsion? This can be told, because if that is the case, then Lalu Yadav for 20 years
has supported the Congress.
Supported Congress, but he has ended in jail. And the bill which was to be, which was pursued to be brought to save him, was opposed by Rahul Gandhi.
Well, you also suffered. They made you in that cash for votes. You were helping the Congress in that.
Ultimately, I was helping the country. You have asked me, I am very happy to. Much against the wishes of China and Pakistan in this subcontinent, I did it. So I have not got Padma Shri like Sant Chatwal. I have got Tihar jail, that is my destiny. But to say I have not taken money, this is not the charge either, that I have taken money, I have indulged in corruption.
No, the
charge is that I, for the sake of saving nuclear deal and Manmohan Singh government, I managed MPs. This is allegation yet to be proved.
You are sounding very much like the Congress these days, Mr. Singh. Why is something afoot?
Nothing is afoot.
Moving on, this week is also one of your very close friends' birthday. It's Amitabh's birthday. Do you have anything to say to him? Any song for the occasion? You always have a good couplet always on your friendship.
बस की दुश्वार है, अब तो घबरा के कहते हैं. बस की दुश्वार है, अब तो घबरा के कहते हैं. दिल को क्या हो गया खुदा जाने. दिल को क्या हो गया खुदा जाने. हमारा भी एक जमाना था. सहरो सहरो आज है तन्हा.
But tell me something about him. Recently you had a party in Bombay for Sridevi where a lot of people were expecting him to be there. He says that, I was invited but I didn't come. So are you, what is the equation now?
I don't want to talk about a subject that makes my heart bleed. I've said enough about this episode in my life. I want to erase it. I want to completely forget it, as if it never existed. And his brand ambassador of Modi,
now he is.
His beloved wife is working committee member of Samajwadi Party. Poor Sahid Siddiqui, a Muslim, a minority guy who is a working journalist, was expelled from Samajwadi Party for interviewing Modi. But Modi's brand ambassador's wife is kept at a pedestal in Samajwadi Party so as to enable her to play the role of bridge between Modi and Mulayam in future alignment. And there is nothing wrong. Everybody is doing that. Chandrababu is meeting Prakash Karat as well as sharing dais with Modi. Jayalalitha ji is also meeting with Naveen Patnaik. Naveen Patnaik is in touch with Mamata Banerjee. So
You see Modi and Mulayam coming together. That's very interesting. And Amitabh, you're saying Jaya Bachchan will be the bridge.
well, give me one reason, ma'am, that a Muslim called Sahid Siddiqui, who is a journalist, for the sake of interviewing Narendra Modi, is expelled from the party. And someone, I'm not saying that interviewing Modi by a journalist, you interview Modi or for that matter anybody, is nothing wrong, you are a journalist. And if that is your level of tolerance, zero tolerance, then how are you tolerating Modi's brand ambassador's wife as senior leader of your party? How are you tolerating Anuradha Chaudhary as senior minister in your cabinet, in whose campaign Modi as well as Anuradha Chaudhary during last parliamentary poll used most abusive language, offensive language against minorities, and recently during Muzaffarnagar riot, a senior cabinet minister belonging to Mulayam Singh's family visited the area and he went to have tea at Anuradha Chaudhary's place. He was lambasted, lampooned and heckled for the same.
You see the Mulayam BJP combination happening more than a Mulayam Congress. Is that why he's saying idea of third front is postponed?
I will not be surprised if Mulayam Singh ji gets a number and BJP decides to prop him, to keep Congress at bay, not to accept that. I will not be surprised because according to my political experience and knowledge, I will say that there are only two outfits in this country which are absolutely BJP free. They have never done any kind of business with the BJP. One is Indian National Congress and one is left parties. Both Indian National Congress and left, they are natural allies so far as even Mamta has done business with BJP. She was cabinet minister with Atal Bihari Vajpayee. DMK has done business with BJP. Nitish Kumar has done business with BJP. Chandrababu Naidu has done business with BJP. Mulayam Singh Yadav, just before Muzaffarnagar riot, praised Advani. And citing Advani's opinion about UP's administration, and his words were prophetic. He said, you are not doing anything and there will be, the bubble will burst. Advani ji says so. He is an honest man. He does not tell lies. Advani ji's words were prophetic as quoted by Mulayam Singh.
Just now a final thing about you yourself, I've noticed you also very close with the Kapoor family of Bollywood, you close with Subhash Chandra ji. So are we seeing, first there were the Bachchans, now you're with the Kapoors, there was Sahara Shri, now there's Subhash Chandra, so you have a TV tycoon in place of another. Instead of Mulayam, you are very close with Salman Khurshid, we are saying, so you have a politician of UP. So has Amar Singh got a new set of friends?
See, according to me, none of my erstwhile friends were wrong. I was wrong. Because the kind of emotion, the kind of commitment, the kind of madness, the kind of passion I expressed in my relationship is not worthy. Because it is not only with me. Look at the career of Mrs. Gandhi. She was closest to Siddharth Shankar Rai. And it was at his behest that emergency was proclaimed. And he was the first one to rock the boat. And the man who recommended and advised emergency and its implementation as lawyer and closest confidant. I have seen the correspondences between Indiraji and Siddharth Babu. It was my dear Indu and my dear Manu. That was the level of relationship. That even personal things were mentioned. It is a documented book in public. But that man dished and became a witness to Shah Commission.
So you're not
and in history also, if you see the Shakespearean tragedy in Julius Caesar, the last word was Brutus, you too. So you will be, the prophetic word of Ishwarchand Vidyasagar, the famous Bengali philosopher, somebody told him that you are being ridiculed by a particular person. He laughed and said, you are lying. It is not possible because I have never helped that person. So you will always be betrayed by Brutus. You will always be betrayed by people whom you feel they are close. And I am not going to commit that mistake ever in life. I think other than your wife and children, you must keep a peripheral relationship. You should not make entry in anybody's internal spectrum, and you should not allow anybody to enter in your internal spectrum. If you maintain a formal peripheral relationship, you will never be emotionally hurt. So neither Bachchans nor Yadavs nor Sahara, everybody is right. They were wise, I was foolish. I salute their wisdom and pragmatism, and I curse my foolishness, and I repent my madness.
We'll end on this very mature note of yours. Thank you so much for talking to NewsX, and we'll talk to you soon. Well, that was Amar Singh giving us an insight into the secrets of some of our most powerful political leaders. Moving on, we now take a look at the presidency of Pranab Mukherjee. It's been over a decade since there has been a politically active president at Rashtrapati Bhavan. When the UPA's chief troubleshooter, Pranab Mukherjee, moved to Rashtrapati Bhavan last June, it was clear that he would be no rubber stamp president like Pratibha Patil. Neither would he be a apolitical president like APJ Abdul Kalam. For Mukherjee, Rashtrapati Bhavan was the consolation prize. His friends say that his first office of choice would have been the Prime Minister's house. He used to often joke, in fact, that the one reason he didn't become PM was because he didn't know Hindi fluently. But there is one language that Pranab Mukherjee does know, and that is the grammar of politics. Within the first 6 months of taking office, he had rejected the mercy petitions of Ajmal Kasab and Afzal Guru, sending the terrorists to the gallows and putting a swift end to a long debate on the issue. Some even lamented that Mughal garden had become the hanging garden. The hanging of Afzal Guru and Ajmal Kasab, spoke against corruption in his first Independence Day speech, discussed the Indo-Mauritius double taxation treaty during a visit there, told Pakistan to stop terror before talks, sat over the ordinance to help convicted politicians, first scheduled and then cut short his Bihar visit to coincide with Modi's rally. Some would even say it was the president's tough stance on the ordinance shielding convicted lawmakers that forced Rahul Gandhi into trashing this ordinance. Apart from summoning 3 cabinet ministers, sources also say that Mukherjee had conveyed his apprehensions to Sonia Gandhi in private. Interestingly, Mukherjee is fond of quoting the Gita, saying,
"Let me conclude by quoting from the great classic Bhagavad Gita, where the teacher propounds his views and then says, and I quote, Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Even as you choose, so you do. I do not wish to impose my views on you. I have presented to you what I think is right. Now it is for your conscience, for your judgment, for your mind to decide what is right."
You know, a president of India is technically head of government, but he's not the president of the Congress. And he knows that he is heading into a very difficult time, perhaps the most crucial period of his 5-year term, because he will preside over a very contentious elections. He does not want to be seen, not merely by the political parties, by the way, but by the people of India, as a president who is in any manner giving any form of or hint of bias towards one side or the other.
The president's tough talk on Pakistan has also created ripples. In an interview to Euronews during his trip to Brussels, he said he can change his friends but not his neighbors.
Because when I was foreign minister, more than often I used to say that I can change my friends if I like, but I can't change my neighbors if I like.
While the politician in Pranab Mukherjee is refusing to recede into the ceremonial role, President Pranab Mukherjee has also been applauded for his social initiatives such as making Rashtrapati Bhavan more accessible to the public, dropping the honorific His Excellency while addressing the President, scaling down protocol and security restrictions. Political and popular, President Pranab Mukherjee's presidency has been the subject of much scrutiny with an eye on the 2014 polls. For as you know, in the event of a fractured verdict, it is the President who gets to play a very decisive constitutional role. And with Pranab Mukherjee, there really is no second guessing as to what he might do. Well, clearly, Pranab Mukherjee is no rubber stamp president. That is all for this week. Thank you for watching Cover Story and see you again next week.